back. This is our final video on making our kindling splitter, and we're going to go through and basically add a base to it. So important to, before I start making, is remember you can always go through and change things and tweak things using the tree over here. So this is your tree of events. You've got your different extrusions. So you got the revolution, extrusion 1, extrusion 2, and the chamfer. And I'm just looking at this and going, that 75 blade looks just a bit wider than the one I've got. So I'm going to choose to go into my sketch. So I'm going to double click my sketch, and I'm going to change one size and change this down to 65. And as you can see, all the other dimensions stuck with it. Didn't freak out because none of my dimensions were based off that having to be 65. And I can finish the sketch and the thing's just going to rebuild. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? Cool. So you can go through and do that to yours. No big deal, because our size of this will be based on what sort of leaf spring I can find in a junkyard. Cool. So we're going to go through and make this base, and we're going to start making it. It's going to be based off the bottom of these legs, which means we can choose to change the length of the leg, and the base will continue to stick to it. Okay. So in sketch, I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, and we're going to start, because this is angle line, I'm going to draw the angle line in two parts. One will draw the flat, and the second part will draw the uprights. So just going to start by drawing two rectangles, one inside the other. And since it's 25mm angle line, I'm going to go through and make the distance between these edges 25. Just make sure it doesn't freak out and send one rectangle outside the other, or one square outside the other. And we can do that cool trick where we actually base dimensions off previous dimensions. It just makes, it's a good habit to get into, because if you ever want to do a design that you need to tweak, which will, if you do year 12, I did that one wrong, I didn't click it off the, just have to delete that one, so right click and I can escape that and press delete. Sorry, I was doing some lazy clicking. Later on you might choose to go, no, I want to make this out of 15 or make it out of 30, and I can change that. Now that looks pretty cool. The next thing is to actually go through and we want this edge to sit 3mm inside that there, which is a bit tricky to do with dimensions, because if I just click there and say 3, it's going to go on the wrong side. So I'll show you what will happen. And I'll just, so if it pass off that edge, I want to go 3mm past it. And for some reason I can't go -3, and it doesn't go, no, you can't do -3. So that's not going to work. So probably better to actually, when you first draw this, is to draw it inside, draw it quite small, and then make it grow. I'm actually going to grab and get rid of that dimension, and actually pull this in manually until it sits in about the right spot. Okay, so I pulled that in. The way I got to just be able to pull it down, I did press escape just to get out of the dimension tool. So you can always press escape to get out of the tool you're using. And now I'm going to go off that edge and that's 3mm. The reason it's 3mm is so that the upright of the angle line can actually fit in there, and it's 3mm thick angle line. There and there, 3. Awesome. So all that can change now is the length. So the length of this. And so we're just going to go through and make that a certain size, which is actually the same as that length there. And what we can do is I could just write in a dimension, or I can cancel that and press escape like that. I'm going to go through and chuck a dimension on here, and it's going to go, hey, you can't change that. So it's adding this dimension will over constrain the sketch, because it can't actually change because it's based off everything else. But I'm going to accept that, and it's going to create a driven dimension, which comes up in brackets. That's handy because now I can actually define these off of that driven. So even though it says that you think of that's error, sometimes that's actually handy. Oh, wrong side. Yes. So that's right to go. Now the last thing As you can see, if I press escape, it's still green, which means I can still move the whole thing up and down. So I need to actually center this. Best way to do that is to actually center from the center line, grab that center line, out to the outside is half of 232. If you're quick at maths, you could just type in 116, but I'm going to do a driven one. So that divided by 2. So 232 divided by 2. And what that will mean, if I ever change anything, everything else just follows suit. So that sketch is blue, it's finished. I can click it and I'm going to extrude it 3mm downward. So click on your profile, because you might want to choose inside or outside, and 3mm, making sure it goes the right direction. And that looks like that. So that's if we were making it out of flat bar. Wouldn't be very strong. It would flex right through here, which we don't want. That's why I'm making it out of angle line. So the last step is just to draw another rectangle. This one's super duper easy. And off that top surface. Okay, and I'm going to draw one rectangle locking on to the corners. I'm waiting until it goes green. Off you go. There we go, green. One rectangle, and the other rectangle is just going to be 3mm bigger. So there's that. So dimension that, and 3mm. 3 is the magic number. And just going to do my defined off a previous dimension until this thing goes blue. Bang, bang. Click, and this thing will go blue now. So I can finish the sketch, extrude that. Now it's 25mm angle line, but I'm not going to go up 25 because I've already got 3mm material there. So I only have to go 25 minus 3, which is 22. Well done. And we are finished. You can choose to chuck some fillets on different spots, but I found that since these don't technically touch, I can't actually grab that little corner there to actually try and fillet that there. I'll have to do a bit of a think about that. I think you can chuck a fillet on these corners here. No, for some reason it will not let me chuck a fillet on them. Don't know why. Awesome. So you're all done there. Make sure you press save. And the next video we'll be going to go through and actually create a what you call a drawing, which is something you can add dimensions, something printable for you to go through when you're in the workshop to refer to in terms of dimensions. So